Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they rely on motivation instead of systems. You've probably experienced this yourself. There are days when you feel unstoppable. You wake up energized, you plan. You promise yourself that today will be different. And for a moment, it is. You work harder, you focus longer, you feel in control. Then a few days later, everything collapses. Not because you suddenly became lazy, not because you stopped caring, but because motivation is unreliable. Systems win because they don't ask how you feel. That's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. From the outside, successful people look disciplined, consistent, driven. But what you don't see is that they've removed emotion from their decision-making. They don't wake up asking, "Do I feel like it today?" They wake up inside a structure that quietly moves them forward, whether they're inspired or not. And that's why systems win. A system is not willpower. A system is not discipline. A system is a path that works even on your worst days. Most people build their lives on feelings. They work when they feel motivated. They rest when they feel tired. They plan when they feel inspired. They quit when they feel overwhelmed. But feelings fluctuate. Systems don't. That's the difference. Think about how most people try to change their lives. They decide they want to improve. They set big goals. They imagine a better future. They hype themselves up. And then they wait for the feeling to act. That feeling becomes the gatekeeper. If motivation shows up, they move. If it doesn't, they stall. And because motivation is unpredictable, progress becomes inconsistent. Inconsistent effort leads to inconsistent results. Systems remove that inconsistency. A system doesn't care if you're tired. A system doesn't negotiate. A system doesn't need encouragement. It just runs. That's why starting feels easier when something is scheduled. That's why routines work. That's why habits compound. The brain loves predictability. When an action is expected, it stops feeling heavy. The emotional cost disappears. This is where most people misunderstand discipline. They think discipline means forcing yourself to do hard things, pushing through resistance, fighting your own mind every day. But real discipline isn't about force. It's about design. You don't need more self-control. You need fewer decisions. Every decision drains mental energy. When you have to choose whether or not to act, you introduce friction. When the choice is already made by a system, action becomes automatic. That's why you don't debate brushing your teeth. That's why you don't negotiate going to sleep. That's why you don't need motivation to eat. Those behaviors are systems embedded into your life. You don't feel strong when you do them. You don't feel weak when you skip thinking about them. You just do them. That's the power of systems. They turn effort into default behavior. Now here's the emotional truth most people don't want to face. If your progress depends on how you feel, you will always be inconsistent. Life doesn't care about your mood. Stress doesn't pause because you're trying to improve. Distractions don't disappear because you set a goal. Systems win because they work in real life, not ideal conditions. Motivation thrives in perfect scenarios. Systems survive chaos. This is why people with systems look calm under pressure. They're not stronger. They're not smarter. They're just protected from decision fatigue. They don't wake up wondering what to do. They don't burn energy deciding how to start. They don't rely on inspiration. They rely on structure. Think about the moments when you fall off track. It's rarely because you didn't know what to do. It's because you had to decide again. Decisions invite doubt. Doubt invites delay. Delay kills momentum. Systems remove doubt. A system answers the question before it's asked. What do I do next? It's already decided. When do I do it? It's already scheduled. How much effort is required? It's predefined. This is why systems feel boring. And boring is exactly why they work. Your brain resists boredom because it craves stimulation. But growth doesn't happen in excitement. It happens in repetition. Systems trade excitement for progress. That's a deal most people aren't willing to make. They want transformation to feel dramatic. They want change to feel inspiring. They want growth to feel meaningful every day. But the truth is, meaningful change often feels uneventful. Quiet consistency eats emotional intensity. This is why people burn out when they rely on motivation. Motivation asks you to show up as your best self every time. Systems allow you to show up as you are. On your good days, systems help you go further. On your bad days, systems keep you from quitting. Another reason systems work is because they protect your identity. When you rely on motivation, every failure feels personal. You tell yourself you're not disciplined enough, not consistent enough, not strong enough. But when you rely on systems, failure becomes feedback, not judgment. You don't say, "What's wrong with me?" You ask, "What's wrong with the system?" That shift is powerful. It removes shame from the process, and shame is one of the biggest reasons people stop trying. When progress becomes a character test, quitting feels safer than failing. Systems remove the emotional weight. They allow you to fail without collapsing. They allow you to adjust without self-blame. They allow progress to continue even when confidence disappears. And confidence will disappear at some point. That's unavoidable. Systems win because they don't require belief. They create belief. Belief grows from evidence. Evidence grows from action. Action grows from systems, not the other way around. Most people wait to believe in themselves before they act. Systems act first, belief follows. This is why people who succeed often say, "I didn't feel ready." They weren't. Their system carried them until confidence caught up. Another reason systems win is because they reduce friction. The easier it is to start, the more likely you are to continue. Systems are designed to lower the barrier to entry. When tools are prepared, when time is blocked, when the environment supports action, starting becomes lighter. This is why environment matters more than motivation. If your surroundings encourage distraction, discipline will always feel hard. If your environment supports focus, discipline feels natural. Systems shape environment. They decide where your phone goes. They decide when work starts. They decide what gets removed from your path. You don't need more willpower. You need fewer temptations. Systems handle that for you. This is why people with systems don't rely on resisting bad habits. They avoid triggers altogether. They don't fight distraction. They design around it. They understand a simple truth. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. Goals are aspirations. Systems are reality. Goals tell you where you want to go. Systems determine if you ever get there. Most people obsess over goals. They write them down. They visualize. They repeat affirmations. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Because goals don't execute themselves, systems do. A goal without a system is just a wish. This is why New Year's resolutions fail. There's excitement, there's intention, but no structure to support the behavior once motivation fades. Systems assume motivation will fade. They're built for that moment. That's why they win. And here's the most important emotional truth. Systems give you peace. When you have a system, you stop constantly evaluating yourself. You stop asking if you're doing enough. You stop carrying guilt on days when energy is low. You know what needs to be done. You know when it will be done, and you trust the process. That trust reduces anxiety. Without systems, your mind is always racing, always calculating, always feeling behind. You carry the weight of unfinished intentions everywhere you go. Systems clear mental space. They turn chaos into order. They turn effort into rhythm. They turn pressure into flow. That's why people with systems seem calmer. They're not immune to stress. They're just not constantly negotiating with themselves. They've decided once, so they don't have to decide again. This is the freedom systems give you. Not control, not rigidity. Freedom. Freedom from relying on moods. Freedom from constant self-doubt. Freedom from restarting over and over again. You don't need to change who you are. You need to change how your life is structured. That's the shift. Start asking yourself to be stronger. Start asking your system to be smarter. Start small. One consistent time. One repeatable action. One simple rule. Let the system do the heavy lifting. Because you were never meant to rely on motivation alone. Motivation is a spark. Systems are the engine. And engines are what move you forward when the excitement fades. If you want real, lasting progress, stop chasing motivation. Start building systems. That's how consistency is born. That's how confidence grows. That's how change becomes permanent. If this message resonated with you, continue with the next video in this series. Each one builds on the last to help you design a life that works even when motivation doesn't. Subscribe to Daily Upgrade Motivation for daily mental upgrades that reshape how you think, act, and live. Watch the next video to continue your mental reset. It connects with this one.